Good afternoon, everyone. On the eve of this government's speech from the throne, I wanted to give an update on some of the good work being done within the Ministry of National Security to tackle violence and anti-social behavior in Bermuda. As the public is aware, we cannot arrest ourselves out of the gang violence that plagues our island. Since 2017, it has been this government's commitment to the people of Bermuda that we will give reducing gang violence the priority it deserves. Our first actions included the creation and implementation of the Gang Violence Reduction Team, better known as GVRT. The team did not reinvent the wheel. In fact, they built on existing policies and programs and were given the necessary resources to produce measurable outcomes. The GVRT is dedicated to enhancing the safety and well-being of our community and is committed to reducing gang-related violence and its detrimental impacts on our neighborhoods. The team's efforts encompass a wide array of initiatives, including the Redemption Program, which offers vital work placement and training opportunities for individuals aged 18 to 35. 80 people have participated in this program to date, and an additional 16 are currently in the program. In addition to this program, the GVRT provides crucial individual case management services to ensure participants receive the personalized support that they need. The GVRT has extended its reach into the corrections facilities through monthly visits, advocating for rehabilitation and reintegration, and offering support for those completing community service hours. The GVRT's street outreach teams actively mediate conflicts and promote peaceful solutions. In schools, GVRT delivers the impactful I Am program, provides individual case management services, facilitates restorative circles and conferences, and engages in daily school visits and small group sessions. The team is fully committed to fostering a secure, harmonious, vibrant, and safe community for all its residents. More collaborative work is needed in combating community violence. The community has a more empowered role to play, along with the Bermuda Police Service, the Violence Reduction Unit, social services, the judicial system, and other helping agencies. In September 2022, the ministry hosted a two-day conference for a cross-section of professionals in the field. We frankly discussed the challenges and opportunities for solving the community's violence problem. We welcomed a diverse group of participants, including representatives from helping agencies, charities, clergy, sports clubs, community activists, and even members of the opposition. This workshop was not merely a gathering. It was a strategic move that aligned with the core principles of our national strategy: prevention, intervention, and integration. During the conference, we established working committees which were tasked with reaching out to their various stakeholders to contribute to our strategic plan, including the identification of gaps in services to those youth who are most at risk. I anticipate that the feedback received from these committees will go a long way in helping us to fine-tune our plan. We sought to encourage open and honest discussions about our response to community violence and anti-social behavior, emphasizing the need for a coordinated and actionable plan across these three pillars. By inviting these key community stakeholders to the table, we aim to ensure that their insights, expertise, and experiences become integral components of our strategy. Also, I took another opportunity to meet young people involved with the Mirrors program last December at the Bermuda Industrial Union headquarters during their monthly workshop. This meeting was vital for me because it gave me a golden opportunity to have an honest and direct conversation with some of our youth about violence. The youngsters, who were encouraged to speak with a good purpose, told me about what it's like to be a young person in Bermuda today and how violence has impacted their lives. The stories that they told had an impact on me, not just as a minister, but as a father, a grandfather, and as someone who lives in Bermuda. The feedback that I received will influence our approach to our ministry's National Strategic Plan for Community Violence and Anti-Social Behavior. In an attempt to understand some of the root causes of violence, I was happy to be able to be in attendance at the graduation ceremony of the Department of Corrections Life Minus Violence program last December. The ceremony allowed me to meet the 7 inmates who graduated from the curriculum and to understand the benefits of a cognitive behavioral group environment for at-risk inmates who are struggling with chronic aggression. I realized that as a government, the community violence issue needs to be met with not only words, but with money too. That is why, last December, the Cabinet approved nearly $2 million in additional funding for the Bermuda Police Service to hire 20 additional officers. 5 of these officers will focus on parish policing, which aligns with our community approach to solving this issue. Meanwhile, 15 of these officers will specialize in serious crime investigations. We took action when it became clear that the number of officers within the Bermuda Police Service was having a marked effect on the ability of the Bermuda Police Service to respond to crime and bring those who commit crimes, especially violent crimes, to justice. It's important to point out that our national plan will not solely focus on gang violence. The primary goal of the plan will be to engage the public as we continue to tackle crime and violence in Bermuda. We can agree that gang violence is a symptom of deeper social ills in our community. The plan will seek to identify those ills and the resources needed to combat them. Our strategy will focus on prevention, intervention, and integration. Strategists will target the reduction of domestic violence as well, as this too is a major cause of concern in our community. The National Strategic Plan for Community Violence and Anti-Social Behavior is in its final stages of drafting and will be rolled out in the upcoming months. Once again, I want to highlight that the National Strategic Plan for Community Violence and Anti-Social Behavior will include new and existing strategies to target a reduction in violence in Bermuda. Tackling the reduction of anti-social behavior and all forms of violence, such as bullying, cyberbullying, domestic violence, gang violence, and interpersonal violence, must be a collaborative approach and will be vital to our success as a country. The rolling out of the first phase of an island-wide CCTV system earlier this month, while not directly related to the national strategy, was another achievement towards arresting the scourge of violence. Once fully implemented, the camera system will consist of over 247 strategically placed cameras across our island. The system will provide an extensive and vigilant network to assist the police in their investigations and deter criminal activity. By leveraging advanced technology and a collaborative approach, we are taking a proactive stance in addressing the root causes of community violence. In closing, I wish to emphasize that the Ministry of National Security remains committed to implementing and leading initiatives that will have a positive impact on the safety and security of all of our citizens. We are already seeing the fruits of our labor, and we shall continue to pursue the goal of reduced violence and anti-social behavior in our community. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Minister Weeks, for your presentation. At this time, we invite questions from the news media, starting with Bermuda Broadcasting Company.
Hi, good afternoon, Minister. Thanks for your comments.
Thank you.
I guess just to talk about the strategy, is there a defined way on how you'll measure prevention, interventions for children who might be at risk of entering the gang lifestyle?
Well, actually, that's a part of our of one of our initiatives. You know, I mentioned prevention, intervention, and integration. Prevention is targeting those young ones that may be on the perimeter, I could say, of gang violence. So one of the groups that looked into assisting us in coming up with a strategic plan has actually looked at that. And as we roll out the strategic plan, those issues will be addressed.
And at this stage, do we know how many children might be at risk or have been identified as being at risk of being exposed to, you know, gang activity, gang lifestyle, and potentially directly being encouraged to join?
I don't have any exact numbers, but there are some out there, and like I say, I really don't want to give a number that I'm not sure of. There are some kids, and the gang violence reduction team is actually currently visiting our primary and middle and high schools weekly. You know, so they identify different at-risk youngsters, and they enroll our different boys and girls now into the IM program. But as a specific number, I don't have.
Okay. Just moving on to the CCTV system. You announced recently that the first phase has begun, and you've targeted the central parishes. And,
Yes.
I guess, could you share where we're at with that?
Well, actually, we have informed the public that hopefully by the end of the year, we will be substantially complete in putting all the cameras throughout the whole island. So after we have done the city, which I think that is now complete, they're just branching out to other areas of the island, and fingers crossed, that will be pretty well done by the end of the year.
Definitely. And as you mentioned, tackling antisocial behavior is a collaborative effort that's needed to reduce it. What does that look like in your view?
In my view, that looks like social services, education, private sector, public sector, parents, the schools. You know, nobody is going to be immune from us coming up with a collective, collaborative effort in addressing the anti-violence behavior that we experience.
I guess just looking towards the throne speech, is there anything you've identified that is, you know, at the top of your list of priorities?
I cannot talk about the throne speech at this time. I think we have to wait until the premier presents it to the public.
Sure. And how would you describe, you know, our current situation when it comes to gang violence? I know police mentioned that we do see, you know, upticks here and there of gun-related incidents, but how would you describe the landscape?
Well, I would describe the landscape much like what the police commissioner said, but he also said that there are times he sees incidences of serious violence on the decrease. So I think with a lot of the programs that we are putting in place before we put in the national strategic plan are starting to show results. And I take my hats off to the gang violence reduction team for being out there in the street and doing what they can.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jasmine. At this time, we'll invite the Royal Gazette.
Good afternoon, Minister.
Good afternoon, sir.
I just have one question, and it is: when do you hope to implement this new strategic plan? Is there an idea of when these might start to come into play?
Well, actually, the draft is right now in our ministry being looked at, and it's being formatted. So in the upcoming weeks or a couple of months, we should be able to present it to the public.
I see. So possibly within the start of the next year, then.
Yes,
Okay.
early part.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Royal Gazette. Thank you again, Minister Weeks, for your briefing on the update on the National Strategic Plan for Community Violence and Antisocial Behavior. That concludes today's press conference.